All right, everybody. Eric Dibb, your most complained cop, is the finest Unfiltered. This is your 265 Police Live series. Of course, John McCarry with me, the founder and the co-host to the podcast. Retired Lieutenant, NYPD. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, my friend. Excited for this podcast. I think a lot of people are. You know, if anybody's been following on social media, there's been a clear attack against myself, Eric, in the podcast. Clearly coordinated. It's a smear campaign that's trying to defame us, trying to discredit us. Lies are made up about us, complete unprofessionalism. And, you know, we're going to talk about that today. That we're going to title the episode, the difference between the oath police officers swear and Omerta. Some have it confused. Eric, what do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we got to laugh at this point. Listen, we're retired. We have a First Amendment right. And our perspective in regards to the police department should be important. And any retired member, it should be important because you understand the inner linings of the police department. There's media out there. Look, there's the Post. There's different papers. There's Cop Watch. There are people that are going to be critical of the police department. And what the police department doesn't understand is obviously they have some type of emotional attachment to what we're saying, is that right now we're retired, which means we're civilian members of the service. But what we have encountered was just an extreme amount of unprofessionalism from the cops that are currently active duty. And it's just a complete attack. It's fine. Listen, we don't take it personal. You know, we're here, you know, offering perspective and analysis. And unfortunately, it just shows how bruised the egos are. And it legitimizes the claims that we've been saying about the weak leadership that's going on in the police department. And ultimately, it affects public safety, it affects morale, it affects the retention, it affects the mass exodus of the police department. This is just one big giant loop of failed leadership, and it's as present as it ever could be.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, these attacks were the timing's impeccable of the attacks of when we released the episode Nepotism and its effects on morale in the NYPD, where we honed in on the appointment of Kaz Daughtry. I think we were more than fair to Kaz Daughtry. I think we labeled out the concerns of many and the thoughts of everyone, seriously. But people that he worked directly with, the elite unit that works under the chief of patrol, actually under the chief of department's office, but works directly for Chief John Schell and Assistant Commissioner Kaz Daughtry. We received almost impeccable timing. You know, our social media is being basically ran through. We received numerous on-duty active members running our names in department computers, calling our friends, wanting to know where we work, how we make money, how we feed our families, all intimidation tactics, having my LinkedIn searched at 5 o'clock in the morning for the third in charge in the New York City Police Department. And it's just clear unprofessionalism to the point where, you know, they're saying that me and Eric should just hide in our basements, go away, shut up, because our wives are fat, we're old, and we were losers and we had no career. And while that's happening, we have an assistant commissioner talking about us, which we will get into later in that podcast. Eric, how do you want to start this show? Like, what do you want me to open up with first?
Well, listen, I always say there's no coincidences in life, right? And there's no coincidence. At the same time, it appears there's a coordinated attack by an entire unit, right? Who's been considered the elite unit of the New York City Police Department right now in khaki pants. But at the same time, I mean, we're in constant contact, cops, as right now, and we see what's going on out there. And we've offered advice to save the lives of the public and to save the lives of these cops right now, because they have been perpetuated to use this vehicle pursuit tactic as a tactic to diminish the crime that's going on in New York City right now. And you and I have been opposed to it because it's never been a tactic that's been used. And the outcomes are just completely dangerous for everyone. And it's just not worth it right now. They're not prosecuting anything right now as we speak. It's not worth it for the cops. It's just not worth it for the public. And apparently they took some real offense to it, but we saw some real unprofessionalism in response, and they took it as a personal attack. So right now, let's talk about the oath that they take. I think we should play a clip of that.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Ready, move! I do hereby pledge and declare uphold the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New York. To faithfully discharge my duties. As a police officer. In the New York City Police Department. Best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Well, that's the oath that New York City police officers take when they graduate from the police academy. And John, I'm sure you remember when you took the oath. I do. I remember taking the oath. I remember taking the oath for the Marine Corps. And it's an honor, right? But you know that when you take the oath, your life does immediately change. And it changes for the better, right? You have a great amount of power, and with that comes responsibility. And along with that, of course, is an extreme amount of professionalism. And I know as cops, we're always held to a higher standard, right? We have to have a certain manner that we operate on duty. But what's tough about being a cop is that you have to operate a certain way off duty in regards to that as well. And unfortunately, I think that things have really changed, especially right now. I think that John Schell personally, as the chief of patrol, being directly responsible to maintain this unit of young, impressionable 3-year rookies that are going out. They're getting firearms. They're doing a good job. They're out there. They're working, but they're involved in vehicle pursuits. But they're under the blanket of John Schell, and they're completely protected, and they have impunity. And it's just completely in opposition to everyone else that's in uniform wearing blue right now. And that impunity, I believe, will not last forever. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah. So again, we received coordinated attacks from a lot of people in this one particular unit, starting from the captain, the lieutenant, the sergeants, and some detectives. So not everyone in the unit. I don't want to blanket the whole unit, but a lot of them, the main players in the unit, I will say, came at us online using their own personal name. Something that in the New York City Police Department, if you know any cops, if cops are fully aware, they will not go online in their own name and curse at people, threaten people, challenge people to fight them, lie about people, smear people, because they're worried about the consequences. But what I saw from these attacks is a total level of immaturity. And I blame the supervision, starting with the sergeants, going up then to the lieutenant, then to the captain, then to the assistant commissioner, and then to a 3-star chief. They were fully aware of what was going on. Some of the conversations, there was only information that the chief could have known that was being relayed to his staff. So I know he was fully aware of those conversations, such as he looked at my LinkedIn at 0500 in the morning, and I sent him a request. I figured he would want to speak to me or come on the show. So I put out online, who wants John Schell to come on the show? And I put a right hand. I do. And so when I said, why is he looking at my stuff at 0500 if he doesn't want to come on the show? All I did was invite him on the show. What's your problem? He said, but who requested who? You requested him. This is from the lieutenant. So that right there shows a clear connection to the chief of patrol, John Schell, who was fully aware of the conversation and the immaturity that was happening. And this would not happen if people did not feel they were acting with impunity. Cops would be heavily penalized for this, and have been heavily penalized for this type of behavior. I mean, me and Eric are retired, and we would never talk to people with such disrespect that we were spoken to.
I agree. Absolutely. We can't shame the entire unit, right? But we do know that the leadership is responsible for that unit. So it is indicative and reflective of the majority of what's going on in that particular unit. Because I'm sure there's outliers in that unit that don't agree with this extreme amount of professionalism that has been displayed. And unfortunately, the power of social media has created a platform to have perspective and analysis of police work in a manner that's never been done before, which is something that we have presented, which is why I think the cops and the leadership has taken this personal, because this is something that has never been done before. It's just complete exploration. Normally, when we hear people in different organizations talk about cops, it's about hugging a cop, thanking a cop, but we actually talk about the perspective and analysis of different tactics, what's appropriate, We talk about the catalyst for change for the Civilian Complaint Review Board. We talk about the discipline matrix. So we have been a voice from outside to help within. And what I can say is we are critical of the leadership of the New York City Police Department. And I think it's imperative that people are critical of leadership because it creates humility and it creates balance. They have extreme of power and responsibility, and we need that balance. And what I can say is this. Kaz Daughtry, who's in a position of leadership, he's extremely impressionable to these guys. They're looking towards him. They're loyal. I don't fault them for being loyal, but I do fault them for being so loyal that they're blind, that they're acting out unprofessional, and they really went in opposition of their own oath. And they may not see it now, but one day I'm confident that they may see it, and hopefully it's not too late. I hope that these guys could do better and change for the better, because these guys are the ones out there wearing the uniforms, and public safety is a direct connection to these guys that are out there right now. Listen, I wish them well, I wish them safe. I don't take anything as a personal attack, but it's important that we talk about the unprofessionalism that's going on, because you and I are critical of the highest leadership that's going on in the police department. But we spoke about this the other day. Small unit leadership breakdown, but we never really talk about the frontline leadership. So I'm shocked by this because I did not get promoted to captain because of substantiated civilian complaints, and I fought tooth and nail to get promoted. And I would have held it in such prestige and honor. So for this captain to be in that position and actually lead the charge and call us out to come to a bar, it's just absolutely ridiculous. He's just lost his honor, and that is reflective of what's going on in the unit. What do you think about that?
I think it's weak egos. I think it's large egos with paper thin skin. You know, cops have to have thick skin, but not the politically appointed. I think a lot of what we do on the podcast, I think if you look at the podcast Instagram or the podcast Twitter, there's a lot of joking on there. It's not really reflective of the conversations and the articulate beliefs that we have about the inner workings of the New York City Police Department, or how politics affects legislation and how that legislation affects policing and how that affects public safety. It's not a true representative of what this podcast actually does, where we talk about mental health, where we do book reviews, where we have retired members come on and memorialize their career and talk about all the things in policing. But for me, the biggest thing is that they just don't realize the immaturity. They don't realize the true weight and responsibility they bear with that shield. Again, I'm going to speak to the leadership here. You created this podcast, in case you didn't know. I didn't want to leave the job. Eric didn't want to leave the job. You forced us both out. So now here is something that grew organically. I wanted to push back at the vaccine mandate. I had no outlet to do it, so I created my own. Right? Eric wanted to push back at the thing that pushed him out of his career, the overzealous CCRB and the lack of representation from the NYPD leadership and the unions, and he did that. He created his own platform to do that. Right? We teamed up together. We pushed this platform forward. So again, you created this. The memes that we put out online, joking, they're jokes. Your political figures. This has been going on through all times. Kings in England had memes and things made up about them in plays, and they weren't beheading people over stupid things that they were talking about in the public. You're a public figure. Grow up. If you want to make fun of me, post my face places, do things like that. I think someone said something about that I had post a photo of you in a mask. I did. It's April 2020 to get promoted to lieutenant. Even though I didn't want to, I put the mask on, and I actually posted about it, if you go back in my history, where I said, we're all guilty of this. Although I spoke out against all of this stuff, I am guilty for this stuff as well, because there were things I didn't believe in that I bended on, such as that day when I wore that mask. So I'll freely put that, and you can put that meme everywhere. I'll laugh. Sometimes we even share some of the memes about us. We laugh about them. And like I tell my friends, because I keep getting messages from a lot of them, that you guys are talking to them, asking about me, asking specifically personal questions about how I feed my family and everything else. And what they always say is, leave them alone. And I'm like, I'm not bothering anybody. I'm just talking about things as they come up in the news. Me and Eric just talk about whatever it is. If we get a request to do a show, we'll do it. I said, but if it was me, I would take all those memes down to the print section and they'd be hanging up behind me. Because I don't care. I don't have a big ego. I know I'm stupid. I know there's things that I do that are dumb. I know there's things I say on here that are dumb. There's some stuff I say on Twitter is dumb. But this is from my heart. Like I said it 1,000 times, and Eric said 1,000 times. This is our therapy. This is how I make sense of the world. This is how I could move forward from being attached with my career within 7 days. This is how I move forward. And no one's gonna back me off of that, wherever that may lead, so.
Well, there's two things that I want to talk about. I want to break down, I think that there's really key points that come out of a speech, Kaz Daughtry at a gala where he's being awarded. Now, we're going to play that clip. But before we play that clip, there's two things, again, like I said, I really want to draw out. I think it's so important. Now, he addresses a handful of retired members that are out of state who have a crime plan that doesn't agree with the so-called Dream Team. Now, what I find extremely problematic about what he's saying, right? Think about this. I don't take it personal. But this is bigger than you and I, John. I've been saying that, right? This is a message to all the retired members that are out there saying that your service didn't matter. Because once you exit 1PP and you get that retired ID card, you no longer are part of the brotherhood. You're not important anymore. Your voice doesn't matter. Basically what they're saying is you should pretty much die and fade away. And I think it's important that retired members understand that. That message, I actually said to myself, it really solidifies, and these guys don't understand. They're loyal right now to this administration that's probably going to be there temporarily because it's extremely clouded right now with what's going on with Adams and Banks. Now, they're not going to be there forever to protect it. So that loyalty, it runs thin. And that's what we've been trying to send a message out to them. Will this administration stand up for you when you're involved in a vehicle pursuit and, God forbid, someone loses their life in a tragic incident like we just had today? And that's the message. We're trying to save you because that is not a tactic that should be led on your behalf. And also, in addition to that, he's exposing his insecurities and his ego, actually addressing a crowd at a gala about a handful of retired members that are speaking about the police department. He should laugh about it. And it just really solidifies that he is not ready for that position. And that's where I said the humility comes in. He should actually say to himself, you know what? I'm not sure if I'm ready. They elevated me 7 ranks. There's a lot to learn. I mean, you're wearing that billet right now, and you have to ask yourself, are you prepared? So we expect a humble speech for you to say, you know what? I'm proud and honored that I've been put in this position. I have a lot to learn, and I honor my men and women that are out there doing the job. That's what I expect to see.
I don't even expect to see him now. I just expect him to be solely focused on public safety. I think he's won like his 100th award since he's took over the spot already. And, if, the Dream Team didn't care about the critics, right? When you're winning championship, the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, they did not care about the critics, which we are. And I think you're right. I think it is bigger than us because they're trying to intimidate us into silence, intimidate us to go away. Not because of anything we say that they could argue on behalf of or come up with an articulate argument. They just have to slander, defame, and then try to in an attempt to intimidate. But think about all the other people we're critical of. Think about Justin Brannon, how I beat that guy up on my own personal social media. I made memes of him as a Barbie. I constantly post photos of him with his tattoos, with his pentagram, with his meet is murder on the back of his neck. He laughs at almost all of it. I'm sure that Barbie photo is hanging up in his office. Think about if he used the weight of his office to come after us for using our First Amendment right. Think about all the times we've been critical of DA Alvin Bragg. And if he used the weight of his office to come after us because we've been critical of him. This is an attack, a coordinated, formulated attack. And these guys are too stupid to understand that they're being used and they're pawns. And the same people that we're trying to protect them against and keep them at bay, they're standing in front of. For what reason? We're talking about politics. We're talking about policy. I think the lieutenant made a comment on my Instagram where he said, We haven't gave a counter argument to one policy this administration gave it. I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, we've spoke about so many policies, qualified immunity. We've spoken about the disciplinary matrix. We spoke about the overzealous CCRB. We spoke about the ridiculous standards you're being held to with these body cameras. We've written articles defending the SRG when even the police commissioner did it. Where was Ed Caban? Where was Ed Caban? Where was the NYPD at city council that day? Nowhere. You know who was there? The finest Unfiltered was there. You know who was there to push back in the media narrative and smack all the politicians around using data and facts and figures? We were, right? We were. Who was there when they said they were gonna disband counterterrorism? Did the police commissioner step up? Did the chief of patrol step up? Did Kaz Daughtry say a word? They didn't say anything. Who said something? I said something. Eric said something. So again, you could attack us all you want. You can make fun of us all you want, but let it be organic. Don't come at us using the weight of your staff, sending impressionable youth that are going to really, at the end of the day, could possibly destroy their careers because of your ego. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, absolutely. That's just, just another case in point that when you move up the ranks and you start to create more distance and you're more removed from the actual troops that are out there, you start to learn and understand that you have to mostly detach from your ego. And when you're in a leadership position, that you're going to face an extreme amount of criticism, especially from the public and even from within, right? We talk about it all the time. The internal pressures of the NYPD is probably more adversarial than what you'll actually face in the public. And that's the ironic part right now, is that they're under the assumption, and they still believe that there's a connection from us to the police department, that we're retired members and there's no consequence for attacking us. But at this point, retired members, including us, we are media, we're a voice, and we are civilian members. And what's shocking by this is that they'll take out a full attack on retired members, having a voice, understand the inner linings and workings of the police department, and yet BLM and Antifa has turned this city upside down every night, impede the lives of New Yorkers. Cop Watch is so critical of the police department, taking money from the police department for so many different lawsuits, and yet we have never seen a coordinated, orchestrated attack against these different organizations. But the finest Unfiltered and other retired members, that has been taken extreme amount of personalized emotions. And again, I say, listen, yes, we were extremely critical of Kaz and his appointment, and rightfully so. I think he should understand that he's made several mistakes, and the criticism that we provided should help to make him better. That he should remove and emotionally detach himself and create some humility and understand that you have to get absorbed into this position and that you're not ready for it. And you skipped 7 steps. It's like if I went out and I wanted to learn how to ride a skateboard and jump, do bunny hops. Am I going to jump off the top of the building the first day? No, you have to work your way up. And it should be the same way for leadership, because it's skill. It's not a born talent. For some it may, but for the majority, it is a learned skill.
Absolutely. And, just the weight of his office. And however he was elevated, he should be humble enough to be able to take criticism. But I'm going to play the clip now, and you're going to see the unprofessionalism. You're going to see his ego shine through, and you're going to see all the reasons we received emails. We received numerous requests via social media to do an episode about his appointment. Again, most of the stuff we talk about isn't just me and Eric's opinion. It's a consensus of the rank and file of the New York City Police Department, the majority. And there are times when we push it back even against them and they don't agree with us, and that's fine. That's what this platform's there. You speak your truth, Eric speaks his truth, I'll speak my truth, and let's get it out there. And somewhere in the middle, there is the truth, right? But in an attempt to shut us down and intimidate, it just shows weakness. And the reason they don't go after BLM and Antifa and all those is because it's completely illegal. It's completely illegal. You're you're involved in law enforcement. Your job is to be public safety. And they're sitting there calling themselves the dream team while New York City is being shut down every night, while Jewish New Yorkers don't feel safe walking around New York City, while residents, tourists, and businesses are fleeing New York and don't ever want to come back under the weight of all these progressive politicians. Another guy I forgot, New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Who is the most critical, you think, online throughout the entire country of New York City Mayor Eric Adams? I am. Right here, me. Who makes the most memes about Eric Adams? Me. Right here, right? I make all these memes. Imagine if he put the weight of his office to come after me and attack me. What would happen to him, you think? Crazy. So let's play it. Let's play the clip of Kaz Daughtry at his nearly 100th award dinner for what award he won or Ed Caban has won. And by the way, has anyone seen Ed Caban? Because I haven't seen him. Eric, have you seen Ed Caban, anyone?
Who?
Exactly. We're going to hear, I think, that article in the New York Post, the real police commissioner, when Kaz Daughtry was a first-grade detective. I think that was more accurate than I gave it credit for at the time. So let's play this clip.
There's a handful of retired officers that don't live in the state that have a lot to say about the dream team, as I like to call it. All of a sudden, they retire and have a master plan on how to fight crime. But nothing to contribute when they were here. They want to come back and be part of the dream team. What can I say?
Who were the two people laughing? Madry and Shell? Or
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, Kaz. Don't get mad at me. Don't send your assassins again. But that's your own speech, and you had trouble reading your own speech. Come on.
the teleprompter was dark. They had the piece of paper was dark in the room.
So, simultaneously, we're getting attacks, right, from the leadership of an elite team of the police department while the speech is going on. Shortly after, you were contacted on LinkedIn by John Shell. They're all connected together. And it's really serious. It's really silly. I mean, we don't even have to do a full investigation. It appears they're all connected because all the members that were attacking us through social media, they all worked with Kaz, or they currently work with Kaz or John Shell. They're all part of the same circle. I mean, it appears to be completely orchestrated. I don't know how long this was going on for, but we're spending all this time attacking John and Eric for the finest Unfiltered. Well, we should be out there doing police work. I mean, listen, some of the memes I appreciate. They're pretty funny. But when it came down to smearing, and they smeared, I think it was a direct attack smearing us, saying that we did nothing. But it's a smear attack on all retired officers, saying that you did nothing, you're out of state, you basically should die and go away. Why are we out of state, John? Why are we out of state?
Because of the leadership of the NYPD. Those men directly involved, their silence and their compliance to the progressive leadership caused everything, caused thousands and thousands of police officers way too young, way before their time, to leave the New York City Police Department, and nobody wants to acknowledge it, And now you have active members being mouthpieces. Before, it was just the appointed being mouthpieces for the progressive legislation, the progressive crime is down. Don't worry about it. It'll make us safer if we don't police minor crimes. It'll make us safer if we don't do these stops. We let these people out of jail and we're safer for it, right? That was the politically appointed in the NYPD making those claims. Oh, I 1,000. You had a police commission. I 1,000% support defunding the police. You had a police commissioner, Dermot Shea, who said, I 1,000% support defunding the police. So mouthpiece for a progressive, right? You had all these people. He 1,000% supported the vaccine mandate. The next police that comes in, what does she say about the vaccine mandate? Zip, nothing. So maybe she's not a mouthpiece for them, but she ain't a friend either. She's not a friend to the rank and file either. Right. And now you have Ed Caban. I don't know what he's doing. He's busy doing something else. He's probably looking for a job, because I'll tell you right now, he's not the acting police commissioner. It appears that Kaz Daughtry is. Shell's attempting to groom him, and he's doing a terrible job because he's obviously immature and egotistical too. So, I mean, I just think at the whole, it all just falls on its face because now they've pushed this ideology of that no one can criticize us. No one in the NYPD could say anything, not even retired members, or we're going to go after them, to where they have active members now being mouthpieces for the progressives who are working directly against them and attacking us. So I just want to say right now to all listeners that support us, I appreciate you. For those that don't, I just want to say this has been a blessed year, 2023, the finest Unfiltered. We've been attacked by Cop Watch. We've been received threats from Antifa, from BLM, from terrorist organizations. And now we've also received it from the NYPD, as well as you guys all are familiar and remember the attack on us by the police unions as well. So I want to thank God. I want to thank everybody for everything. And we're not going anywhere. So keep it up, keep it coming. We're going to keep laughing.
No, I just want to piggyback on that. Absolutely. We're not going to stand down. We're not going to go away. I mean, it's clear and obvious that the innuendo, I believe, the innuendo in that speech also is, hey, you're out of state, and if you come back here, you're going to have some troubles. I mean, there's every reason to believe that if we go back to New York for any reason to visit, that they may try. It appears that they may try to flake us. I mean, they sent a message. This all happened simultaneously. We're attacked on social media, and as you said, we expect them to make jokes about us because we make funny memes out there and we're joking about the administration. So we expect it, right? It's expected. But what John said, I think, is really important. It should be organic. But to have an orchestrated attack and say that we did nothing in our careers, and it appears some of the information that they actually provided, it's obvious that they were using the NYPD department intranet to get information about us, more than just word of mouth, which is a complete violation of their oath. And that's another thing that I find extremely problematic. Leadership is so important. The troops, I mean, there's no bad troops, only bad leaders. So it's completely reflective. I mean, the captain and lieutenant of this unit, these young rookies are so impressionable. They're looking to you for guidance. And this is how you run your unit, that you attack two retired police officers, lieutenants, or any rank, it doesn't matter. But here's the point. We understand the inner linings of the police department because we were there almost 20 years. So we're not going to stand down, and we're not actually going to be intimidated, and we're not going to be afraid. We're going to continue to voice our opinion. In this podcast, the show will go on. It will continue. But could you imagine some civilians that were not retired members receive the same attack? They would be terrified, and it would be a whole different conversation. And they wouldn't be as kind as we are being right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think there was an innuendo stay in Florida, which I won't, and I will be in New York City, and I will continue to come back, and I am not afraid. And believe me, should anything happen to one of my family members, me, anything, I won't be the one in jail. Believe me, I won't be. So I'm not worried about it. I don't drink. I don't do drugs, nor does any of my family. We don't speed. We don't talk on our cell phones. We wear our seatbelts. Our cars are always registered. Our inspections are up. So should something miraculously happen, there will be consequences to pay. I think I was being slandered. I was actually defamed. There was a lie that kept getting put out about me, that they said that I made a CCRB against a cop. They used their real names, and they kept saying, I made a CCRB against a cop because I didn't get my retro check. So I'm just going to back up real quick. I haven't been a cop in over 10 years. I was not entitled to a retro check from the PBA. I am also force vested, which is actually terminated. It was a coercive termination before the LBA settled this contract. And I don't know if they are settling, if they've settled it or they haven't settled it. The LBA conveniently forgets to email me all of these things because I'm a lifetime member. I actually paid the $500 like a sucker, but I don't get any emails from them like the other retired guys. I don't get any other emails, which,
I didn't pay it.
I shouldn't have paid it either because I don't get the emails. I got to get them from other retired guys. But the thing is, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying.
It's late at night for me.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying.
That's all right. I will say this though. I will say this, and some of the slander and some of the defamation was actually pretty funny because they kept telling me, which they don't even know. By the way, guys, if you listen to this, to the elite dream team out there, I don't live in Florida either. I mean, yeah, I'm in Florida most of the time, but I'm in Asia right now. And can I just tell you this? Florida doesn't have basements because they keep telling me to stay in my basement and that I'm a podcast loser and I should stay in my basement. And I told John the same thing. But Florida doesn't have basements. But I'm in Asia. And listen, if any of you guys want to come visit me and you want to have a conversation, anytime. I say it all the time, right? Do I not, John? And I say it again on this podcast. Opposition meets opportunity. And if these guys want to have a professional, they want to have a respectful conversation because we're men of honor. If you want to have a conversation through social media, you want to call us, email, you want to sit down in person, have a conversation, I'm always open to it. And understand, we can actually lay out all the stuff that we have done from the outside to actually assist the police department in better changes. And not just the police department, in public safety and common sense. The police department has been a factor in it. But that's not the whole ball of wax for this podcast. But I'm still open. I'm still open for respectful conversations. Again, and if you don't like what we're saying, just don't listen. It's that simple. If you don't like what Cop Watch says, don't listen to them. I was actually asked to take something down that I posted. If you don't like what I posted, call New York Post. Tell them to take it down. I'm not the one that put it up. I just put it on social media.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, but I remember what I was saying. I just got caught off guard because I did get a little mad that the LBA doesn't email me. So it does annoy me a little bit. But besides that, I was saying about the CCRB complaint about the retro check. Let's back up here. I'm a retired member of service. Me and Eric already spoke about how when you go to retired, unless you know somebody, you're treated awfully. You're treated like a piece of garbage. Not by the people in there, by the supervisors in there, because they're weak, egotistical, paper-thin skin leaders like we see, who don't deserve to be in that position, who don't understand they're in a customer service role. So they were trying to say, oh, you made a CCRB against another cop. I didn't. It's a clear lie. You all kept putting that out. However, if I was entitled to a retro check, if I was, and I called up numerous times, and I was waiting for months, and every time I called, I was being treated like I'm an idiot, and I need to go away, and I'm a retired idiot, I would 1,000% call CCRB. I would 1,000% call IB. Because guess what? I'm a member of the public now. I should actually get a little bit of courtesy that I'm a retired member, but if you're going to treat me worse than you treat the Republic, then you treat the public. If you're going to get spit on and let bottles get thrown at you at a protest and let people get in your face and do this to you right on top of you, and you're going to treat me like an idiot who's been nothing but respectful for you, and I walked in your shoes, 1,000% I'll file a complaint on you. I'm not afraid to file a complaint on you. We didn't, again, I've said this 1,000 times. I said this on a million interviews. I did not take a saint and burn it in my hand and swear Omerta and say, if I go against this family, my soul shall burn like this saint is. I never said that. Eric never said that. He never did that either. We said we swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the state of New York, not to an appointed manager, not to a mayor, not to a job, not to anyone. But Eric, I just want to play this clip before you go. I want to play the Omerta clip because this is how I feel these guys are acting, and they just don't understand it. I just think they're too dumb, and they're too young, and they're too immature, and they're led by clearly morons, egotistical, paper-thin morons. This is the difference between the oath you saw. The Constitution of the United States has the First Amendment in it, right to free speech. So you will uphold those laws, right? Free speech. But this is the oath that you guys are upholding.
Omerta is a secret code. It's the code of silence. It's what we swore when we took our oath. On Halloween night, 1975, with 6 other gentlemen, I swore to the oath of Omerta. I was never even supposed to talk about the life, never mentioned that it really even exists. That is the sacred oath. It's not a myth. Now have
I mean, that's exactly what's happening right now. This crew that actually did personal attacks on John and I, just complete slander, defamation, coercion, intimidation, harassment, you name it all. They're on the assumption that there's some type of omerta. And right now, they are, because they're operating under impunity under John Shell and under Kaz Daughtry. I mean, it appears as it was a complete coordinated attack. But again, your oath is supposed to be the Constitution. And again, even with that, personally, John, I know you feel the same way. I don't care what they say at all. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. But it just makes them look so bad. I'm embarrassed for them. They were a disgrace to the Shield, and I think right now, with the way they were acting, they don't even deserve that shield. And again, I have no problem. I have no problem. I am a civilian member of the public. I'm a civilian member of the United States of America. I served my country honorably. I served in the United States Marine Corps. I served the city of New York. And in retirement, we deserve some respect. All retired members deserve some respect. All civilian members. You don't have to actually respect everyone, but you should show them respect, especially as a cop and you're bearing that shield right now. And I was shocked. I remember some of those attacks that were coming from the captain. And I didn't know he was the captain at the point. John, you said, oh, he's the captain of the units. Oh, my God. He's the captain? This is the guy that they're learning from? And then after the captain was smart enough to shut down and stop the attacks himself, it just showed that there's absolutely no leadership because those attacks continued. And I'm sure they'll continue now. But that's fine. John and I are not going away. If you want to waste your time, and it appears it's happening on duty, that's another problem. It appears it happens on duty. I mean, the lieutenant went out of his way to tell us that the unit got almost 200 guns for the year. And you know what? Maybe if they weren't on social media trying to attack this platform, they'd probably get more guns. And then the other question is, do they want to continue this path of vehicle pursuits? Because it's not looking good. We're trying to help you. But listen, you swore Omerta, and John Shell told you that's the tactic to use. Good luck with that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, as much as those attacks anger me, oh, come meet me in a bar in Wanta. I'll be in Massapequa. I'll be on the mean streets of Massapequa. I mean, absolute. I'm a grown man, 43 years old. I don't even go to bars. I don't go to bars anymore. I don't go out anymore. I have 2 kids. I mean, that was the complete unprofessionalism by an executive on this job. I'm not kidding. I woke up, I put a post out. I said, I'm embarrassed for the NYPD news this morning. And I was. I'm not kidding. Because I would never do that. Eric, I want to ask you 2 questions, Eric. My first question is, how many times in this past month do you think our names were ran in department computers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from just from that conversation alone, that through social media when we were attacked by fake memes, by cops hiding behind memes, by the actual cops that gave their names, just information that they knew that could not be uncovered unless they actually used the NYPD department internet, used department NYPD database, which is just a complete violation of rule and it's a violation of law. And that's the part they don't understand. They still think that we're under the umbrella of the NYPD. You still have to play the game under the NYPD. We don't. It's a different game for us. And we're not scared because we know the inner linings of the police department. We looked at the NYPD from the inside out compared to civilian members that have never been part of the New York City Police Department, looking from the outside in. And that's why I said, I don't care what they say, but I was shocked. I just think it's shameful. I mean, it's an honor. It was an honor and a privilege to wear that shield. Are there things that are going on that I do not agree with? I wish that Kaz Daughtry, gave that speech to the CCRB to stand up for Eric Dibb and John McCary and Sal Greco when we were on the job. That's something that I expected the leadership to do, but they didn't. But instead, they just showed it's more about their own self-serving egos. That's what I find a problem.
Absolutely. I mean, running our name it's unbelievable. It really is. It's doing that. The other thing that angered me a lot is I got several calls yesterday that a supervisor in this particular unit is calling people that I know. What do I do for a living? What are you going to do? Call up, make threats about me? I am self-employed. I own my own businesses. And that's it. But for you to even ask that question while you're sitting there bearing that shield, and I don't know if you were working or not, what are you? Are you a police officer or are you a thug? Or did you swear on Omerta or did you swear an oath to the Constitution? And by the way, I know exactly who you are, all of you. I have the whole roster. I have you all labeled out. And again, anything that I don't like happens, I will 1,000% move forward with not only legal action, not only that, I will call everyone and their mother. I will blast you all over the papers. I will go on every media outlet across this nation and say your name over and over again. So don't you dare ask anything about me. You got a problem? Everybody has my number. Give me a call.
Oh, how great would it be that the most complained cop actually makes a complaint? And again, I have no allegiance to these guys at all. I'm retired. And if you want to talk to us with respect, we were open to opposition. We're open to conversation, but you were just completely disrespectful. I think that it's fine. We don't take it personal, but I really do think that they shame the shield. And there's no honor in that. I mean, because you have to lay down at night. You have to look at yourself and say, wow, do I actually represent this iconic shield? I mean, the NYPD was the GOAT of policing worldwide, not just for New York State, not just for the country, but worldwide. The NYPD was the GOAT. When people think of policing, the first uniform they think of is that blue uniform, that NYPD uniform, something you should be proud of. And you lost your honor, and you made that shield lose its luster. It's really alarming. And again, I have no allegiance to you guys at all. If I need to make a complaint, I'll make a complaint. I think it would be pretty interesting that the most complained cop makes a complaint. And again, these guys are stupid and don't even understand how much they're exposed right now. You can go to the Civilian Complaint Review Board website on the internet, anyone. You don't need any specific access. And you can just type in MOS records and you can get the roster for every precinct, every unit in the entire city. It will give you everyone that's in that precinct, even if they have never received a civilian complaint. And there's a lot of information that you get. So we already have the entire rosters of who's been part of these attacks, even the fake memes. Honestly, I don't care, but it's just shameful that you would do this to your shield. And honor should be something that's extremely important. I take pride in honor. I know John does as well. Do you really want to lose your honor and shame yourself and shame your family? Because this allegiance you have, I respect the fact that they're being loyal. I just wish it was for something positive. Because believe me, right now, all perpetuated by failed, inadequate leadership. When they leave, because it's time for them to go pretty soon, you still will have that stain on you.
Oh, absolutely. They're playing the short game 1,000%. I've had the blessing that I've worked for guys that I love. I've always had that blessing like that. People I still talk to today. They don't agree. Maybe I don't talk to them as much because they're not a little happy with me breaking Omerta. But they still reach out to me. How's the family? How's this? We don't talk about my podcast or anything like that. But guys that I truly love. But if they asked me, because they were getting beat up online. I mean, I've been beat up online through arrests I've made. Eric's been beat up online through arrests he's made. I've never commented one. If they would have came to me and asked me, hey, I need you and your guys to go get online, and I would have told them to grow a pair of balls. I would have laughed right in their face and told them to grow a pair of balls, because there's a difference. There's a difference between being loyal and being stupid. There's a difference between being loyal where, I don't know, let's say I was loyal to a fault where I would, if you told me to stand in a room for 12 hours, I'd stand there for 12 hours at attention. That's how I was. I did my job when it became to my job. But let's just say someone asked you, hey, file this police report that you weren't on scene before. Absolutely not. Not doing it. Oh, what's the big deal? The big deal is I'm not doing it. I'm not allowed to do it. It violates the law. I'm lying, and or sign this supporting deposition that you weren't there for, that you observed the arrest that you didn't make. Absolutely not. That's not being loyal. Go on social media and blast these guys and threaten them and smear them. And here, I'm going to sprinkle a little information about them so you could attempt to smear their careers and how they did nothing. Don't worry about the fact that they both have more arrests been involved in more incidents and have more experience than all of yous combined. Let's gloss over that. Here's some little facts about them. And you go out there and you bash guys and you don't even know what for, because we asked you numerous times, what did we say that you don't agree with? And there was never an answer to that question, other than that then we started to be called racist because we put a meme out with Kaz Daughtry with his hat sideways and his shirt untucked. But they didn't follow up with the meme, and I said source. And it was a photo of Kaz Daughtry standing there with his hat sideways and his shirt untucked. So that wasn't racist. He's sloppy. He's sloppy. If it was a white guy with his hat sideways and his shirt untucked, it would have been a white guy. I wasn't aware that in America I wasn't allowed to poke fun at public officials who were black. I didn't understand that makes us racist. So it was just constant nonsense, slander, again, in an attempt to intimidate us. It's still happening right now as I look at my phone. And, I truly am. I'm embarrassed for the New York City Police Department. If I had any respect for John Schell or Kaz Daughtry, I lost it all at this point. I have no respect for them at all. I have no respect for the captain or the lieutenant either, because they clearly have no control of the unit. And the last message the lieutenant sent, I think, showed just how immature he truly is, and how much of a mouthpiece he is for the progressive left. Get stuff done. Crime is down. I'm here to defend the hard work of the men and women in the New York City Police Department. I don't think anybody has defended the hard work of the New York City Police Department more than myself and Eric. He's defending the appointed management. Eric Adams appointed management. Their failures. You could look at New York City every night. The things we're saying are dead accurate, and we're going to keep saying them.
The bottom line is we have right to free speech. And what's unfortunate about this whole thing is that this particular unit that has shown loyalty to Kaz Daughtry and John Schell, they brought this upon themselves, because we put the memes out, and they jumped on social media and they initiated these attacks. They really brought it upon themselves. It's shameful, because I remember there was a time when we were on the job that we had a fear of adversarial consequence. You wouldn't even get into an argument if someone cut you off in your car driving to the store, or someone banged their shopping cart into your car. You'd probably just brush it off with your hand and walk away, because you understood. It was always preached that when you're off duty, that you want to minimize, and you do not want to have any confrontations that could stain that shield. It was always about protecting your dignity, your image, and the image of the department. And these guys completely tarnished the image of the department. And I hold the captain and the lieutenant completely responsible, because at some point the captain and the lieutenant realized, and I'm sure they got nervous by eventually when they were able to emotionally detach themselves from what was actually happening, that the rookies kept continuing, and it's still continuing. So that just shows there's no hold, that there's absolutely no leadership going on there. It's just a complete mess. It really reflected, again, of weak leadership, and there's no pyramid and actual vision in the police department. It's a shame to see. Again, we are not intimidated. We're not going to stand down. We didn't before. I'm used to my name being smeared in the paper. It was smeared in the paper by the Civilian Complaint Review Board numerous times, by Cop Watch, different organizations, and we survived that, and we'll survive again.
100%. Eric, if there were guys smearing you online when you were on the job, which happened to you, Cop Watch was smearing you, the newspapers were smearing you, everyone, the New York Post, the Daily News, and you saw them online being combative with reporters, or even just people making comments, fake names, whatever it is, and they're online at work, on duty, or even offline, off duty, and they're online acting fools and saying foolish things, what would you do?
I will put a stop to it immediately. And if they were in my unit, they know it. I would throw them out immediately, because professionalism and honor was extremely important. We say this all the time. And I've heard Sal Greco say it too, and I agree 100%. You can't be a gangster and a cop at the same time. You need to make a choice. Do you want to be a thug, or you want to be a cop? but you can't be both. And it takes extreme amount of discipline to have the professionalism to not engage, the discipline just to watch and keep your head up. You're not supposed to be emotionally attached and emotionally invested. They have a right to First Amendment speech. And if they commit a crime, then you make the arrest. That's what we do. It's your job to execute it. Let the DA's office interpret it. Let the DA's office look at it. But apparently that they look at us different because they still see us having a connection because we're retired. So they have to make up their minds also. Are we civilian members that deserve respect? Or are we retired members that deserve respect? Or we don't deserve respect because we're retired and you look at us as we should just die and wither and go away. Every retired member out there right now should be extremely proud of their service. And for those guys that are on the job right now, your ultimate goal is to get to retirement. And what do you think retirement is? I mean, all I hear is, oh, you should be playing golf. Why are you talking about the job? You shouldn't podcast. Do you think that when you retire, you just go lay on the beach and somebody brings strawberries and cherries and you eat these, you lay down and eat that all day? That'd be a boring life. Retirement is not the end. It's the beginning. And in retirement, you need significance and purpose. And there is significance and purpose to this podcast. And it's significance and purpose to our perspective. And a perspective is extremely important to hold the NYPD leadership accountable and keep them humble.
And obviously, our perspective is dead on target, or your fearless leaders wouldn't even be bringing us up. Everyone said, I got a comment, I think it was this morning, I don't even remember, but the guy said, make sure you get the spelling of our names right. Just so you know, we didn't talk about any of yous or put any of your names out because none of yous matter at all. You're not even worth it. I wouldn't even put your name out there because you're nobody, and that's it. So go back to doing your job, leave the politics and all that out of it, and don't worry about what we're doing on this podcast because I'll tell you right now, if you're trying to intimidate us and threaten us, and if it continues to happen, believe me, we will humble you. Believe me.
Oh, and I just want to say, with that being said, because this is happening from cops and then boxing, there's only so much they could do. And they're just threats and they're intimidation. But exactly what John said, these aren't threats, they're promises. And you know what? If you think it won't happen, press your luck. Try it. I don't take it personal, but you know what? We'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll be sitting in Viper wondering how you got there. And John Shell will be running to retirement. And Kaz Daughtry will be leaving the police department too. All right. So that's it. That's my whole thing. Stop having personal attacks on us. You want to attack politically, you want to make fun of us, go right ahead. Stop with the threats. Stop with trying to find out information about me. If I hear it again, you guys are going to have a big problem. Believe me. And then I am going to put your names on here. And you're not going to get the fame that you want. You're going to get the wrong type of fame. So, Eric, you want to end with anything? I think we talk about these.
Yeah, again, for these guys, I hope that they learn something for this, especially the captain and lieutenant. You're in a position of power. You are in leadership. It's middle management or frontline leadership, but you are a leader of what Kaz Daughtry calls the dream team. So what he's saying is you guys are the best. So show that you are the best. Carry yourself with some dignity, some professionalism, and do not have a weak ego. Words should not bother you. You have to be thick-skinned. I mean, I had numerous civilian complaints. I had 8 sets of charges in 1 year that I had to combat while my name was being smeared in the paper. At the same time, every time that I had an encounter in the street, cop watch was on my back, screaming in my face, and I had to endure that. That's where the professionalism comes in and the true warrior spirit. And that's what I want to see. Honestly, I don't want to see you guys at all because you're nobody to me. I don't really care about you, but I'd like to see you do better because you are reflective of the New York City Police Department, and that's where we worked. And guess what? In retirement, I'm not going to die and go away. We're only getting better. I eat healthy. I stay in shape. So does John. All right? My passion is martial arts. If you want to talk about it, call me up. We can talk about it all the time. You want to call us losers, you can call us what we want. And if you don't like what we're saying, just turn the channel and don't listen. But the finest unfiltered, it's not going away. Thank you very much. To our supporters out there, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, or just give us a counter argument and we can talk and have a civil debate. Like that's what we've done. We've created a platform for people to talk about what they believe, bitch about it, not bitch about it. Say, just give us a counter argument and let's talk it out. Oh no, you guys are wrong. Vehicle pursuits are a good thing. Oh no, you guys are wrong. Defunding the police was a great thing. Whatever you want, whatever it may be, whatever your counter argument is, we don't attack anyone. We don't talk anyone. So I'm just gonna put the invitation out there one more time for this whole thing that started. Chief of Patrol John Schell, you're welcome on this podcast. Assistant Commissioner Kaz Daughtry, you are welcome on this podcast. If these attacks continue, we'll know your full answer. You're afraid. You don't want to sit down with us. For what reason? We don't know. We don't talk over anyone. We let everyone say what they want. We're not worried. There was a little thing I used to keep in my hat besides a prayer. I used to keep this in my hat, and even in plain clothes, I kept it in my inside of my bag, and I would read it when people would bother me, my sergeant, the cops I worked with, the other people, when anyone would say anything, the public. And I would read this daily, a daily affirmation. I've read it on this podcast before, but I highly recommend to Chief John Schell and to Kaz Daughtry to get this printed, go down to the print section. Don't stop looking at me and Eric's stuff online. Get this and put it in your office, and you read it every day. It's not the critical.
I want to end it with this.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead. Oh, you reading something? Sorry.
Yeah, it's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to a man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and there is no shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cost, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. That's you. You're in the arena. We're criticizing you. Deal with it. Eric, what you got to say? Sorry.
No, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you say you're going to read something. That's powerful. I've heard that message. I think that you can read that over and over, and every time you look at that, there's so much to unpack there. It's powerful, especially being part of law enforcement, which I think is an honor. Even though everything that's going on right now, the climate, and I wouldn't take the job, but still, if you are there, it's an honor, and you have to recognize that with that shield. But I think it would be a great opportunity. I'm sure the guy's going to watch this podcast. I'm sure Kaz Daughtry is going to watch it. So is John Schell. There's a great documentary. You and I talk about it, and I know you read the book. The actual documentary, Ordinary Men, really is symbolic of what's happening with these guys. And I hope that they watch it and have an opportunity to ask themselves, could we have become Nazis? And it's a very easy question. The answer is yes, because it's much easier to go along with the crowd, even if you don't agree with it, than be in opposition of it. So, again, be safe out there to these guys or anybody that's with the New York City Police Department. Vehicle pursuits, they should be only done in extreme cases. It should not be a regular tactic. There's an unfortunate loss of life in the most recent vehicle pursuit. Think about that. Even when times were good and the police were getting support, far more support than they are right now, it was never a tactic that was valued upon. It was frowned upon. And it's much more now, and it's even worse. I could pull up articles right now, cops throughout the entire country that have been indicted and imprisoned for car pursuits. And the initiation and the bearing of the entire responsibility was put on the cop. So that cop could be you. So think about that. Again, thank you for all those that support us. For those that hate on us, I appreciate it too. Your opposition does meet opportunity, and your opposition is important. And you can be critical of this podcast. Again, for any of the cops that are out there, if you don't agree with something that we said, combat it with some factual information. We're open to the conversation. And I'm always open to learn something new.
Yep.
And I know, John, you are as well.
Absolutely.